The square root is an inverse operation to squaring. So when we are finding a square root, we start with a number, we can square it, and then we take its square root. We should end up with the original number. Again, that's our whole definition of an inverse operation. Taking the square root undoes squaring a number. But it's a little more complicated than that. So here's the complication. We know that 4 squared equals 16, but we also know that negative 4 squared equals 16. So if I take the square root of 16, is the answer 4 or is it negative 4? Well, both answers are valid. Both fit the definition of squaring a number, right? Negative 4 squared is equal to negative 4 times negative 4, which equals 16. And 4 squared is equal to 4 times 4, which is also equal to 16. So since the goal is to get back where we started with when we take the square root, either answer could be correct, a positive 4 or a negative 4. We didn't have this problem with subtraction or division since there was only one answer in those cases when we were looking for that inverse operation of addition and multiplication. So here we have our first complication. When we square a number, we eliminate any information about whether the original number was negative or positive, right? We have 4 squared is equal to negative 4 squared. Taking the square root can't recover that information. Later, we'll learn how to use the context of the problem to determine whether to use the negative or positive square root, or both in some cases. But for now, we just don't have enough information. To account for both possible answers, we will use the following convention. So we will note that the positive square root will just be that radical symbol with nothing on the outside of it. So for example, when we say radical 16, the square root of 16, we're referring to the positive root, so that would be 4. So if we want the negative square root, we are going to put a negative sign or the negative symbol outside of the radical symbol. So when we say negative square root of 16, that is then going to indicate the negative square root, so that would be negative 4. Now if we want both, outside of the radical symbol, we're going to put the plus or minus symbol. That will tell us to do the positive and negative square roots. So plus or minus the square root of 16 is equal to plus or minus 4. That would indicate both answers. Now the positive square root is special. This is called the principal square root. So if you just see the square root symbol, that's the positive or the principal square root. So the square root of 16 equals 4. 4 is the principal square root. When solving problems, you will need to use the context to determine which is appropriate. But when writing numbers, it's clear the square root of 16 is a positive 4 because, again, there's no sign on the outside, so we assume it's that principal.